Looks heavy though.
It's a little heavy. It's working.
It is? Look at you. Are we live on both platforms? Are we good? Okay, waiting on Instagram.
Now. Ooh, this is so exciting.
We're good?
Yeah.
We're Gucci, as my 13-year-old likes to say. We Gucci. Shall I begin?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
We're good.
We're good. Hi, how are you? Welcome to video 28 on Mindset Reset. I'm Mel Robbins, and this is a month-long training program about how you reset the thinking patterns that don't serve you. And if this is the first video that you're watching and you want to know more about Mindset Reset, it's a free program. Just go to melrobbins.com. Mel Robbins, that's me. melrobbins.com/mindset reset. If you're one of the more than 200,000 amazing human beings who have been part of our Mindset Reset community this month, I want to thank you so much for being here. This experience with you has had a profound impact on my life, on my entire team's lives, and on the lives of people just like you all around the world. And so I want to applaud you for being a part of this community. And I also want you to pat yourself on the back. In fact, in the comments, write, yay me, go me, awesome me, something to acknowledge yourself. Pat yourself on the back for the fact that you love yourself enough to learn the life-changing skill of changing how you think, so that from this day forward, you have the skill in your back pocket and up here in your mind to be able to redirect your thoughts whenever they don't serve you. That's what a mindset reset basically is. It's the awareness of a fact. And the fact that I'm talking about is that you can control what you think about. You know, you can't control everything that's going on around you. You can't control whether or not your kids are irritating you, or your boss is a jerk, or your colleagues are passive aggressive, or your friends kind of blow, or your family is in shambles, or there's no money in your bank. Whatever it may be that's stressing you, you can't control that. You can't control the state of the state. But you can always choose how you respond in your mind. And that's where the real power in your life is going to come from. And so, number one, when you do a mindset reset, when you learn the skill of doing a mindset reset, you are embracing the fact that you can choose what you think about. And that's a game-changing fact right there. The second thing that you're realizing is that, yeah, your thoughts drift because they get triggered, but you can always pull them back to something positive. And so I want you to really take a minute and thank yourself for the fact that you are committing time to change how you think, because when you change how you think, you're going to become a better you. You're going to have a better future. You're going to have a better today. You're going to make yourself happier. And, you know, I also want to say that we're coming to a close on this training. Today we're going to do a monster Q&A. So if you have any questions whatsoever, please start firing them away in the comments on whatever platform you're watching this on, because Danielle is producing this episode and she is watching the comments. So is our team back in Boston. And we're going to be answering a ton of your questions today. And then tomorrow, we're going to do a very important training on how you use everything that you learned from video 1 through video 29, which will be tomorrow. How do you use everything that you have learned in this 35-day experience? How do you use it for the rest of the year? How do you use it for the rest of your life? How do you make the things that you've learned stick? Because remember, I've said repeatedly, I think in fact in almost every training, that doing a mindset reset, it's not an event. It's not a one and done. You don't just like switch your thoughts and it's over. It's a process. It's a skill. It takes time, and it's something you're going to practice for the rest of your life. Will it get easier? Absolutely. Are you going to have days where you're triggered? You better believe it. Are you going to have days where you feel like a failure? Mm-hmm. Are you going to have days where you feel anxious? Definitely. But you now have all the skills that you could possibly ever need in order to come back to and do a mindset reset. So just for recap, then we're going to get into the Q&A, okay? So any question you want. Just for recap, if you haven't signed up for Mindset Reset, it's not too late. You haven't missed out. Don't you worry. melrobbins.com/mindset reset. What you will get if you go and sign up, is you will get an email from my team that summarizes everything that's happened to date and a link to the playlist on YouTube so that you can watch the videos at your leisure. And for those of you that are part of the program, let me remind you of the breakdown in the videos. Videos 1 through 5 are the fundamentals around how our brains think and learn information, the way our brain creates a default network that acts as a filter, how important it is to change the patterns in your default network, and how you can use things like anchor thoughts and thinking this, not that, and the idea of redirecting from just defaulting or being on autopilot to being a deliberate thinker, how that will change your life. That's videos 1 through 5. Videos 6 through 12. These are the videos all about the essential connection between your morning routine and your mindset, and how your mindset, your mood, your productivity, your focus, your happiness gets set literally in the first 10 to 30 minutes of your day, and how essential it is for you to fight for your dreams so that the first 10 to 30 minutes of your day is all about you priming your mind to be able to serve you, and you boosting your mood and sharpening your focus on things that matter to you. And so if you're worried about how to make this program stick, go to videos 6 through 12, where we walk all through the connection between your morning routine and your mindset, and how you wake up and the impact it has on your mood and on your ability to focus. And then we also talk about my journaling method and give you free templates, by the way, so that you can test out this journaling method and all the science behind what to do for the first 10 to 30 minutes of the morning to take control of up here. Then videos 13 through 22, we broke down anxiety. Not only the anxiety that you feel, but also helping you understand what anxiety is so that you can be more effective and supportive in helping the people that are in your life with anxiety. And we did some remarkable trainings on kids and anxiety. So if you have not yet watched videos 13 through 22, please, please, please check them out. And then finally, videos 23 until all the way through till tomorrow, video 29, the last of the live trainings, have been about these little awesome mental tricks, metacognition, little things that you can do to switch the way that you think. And I was really excited to see so many of you loving the training yesterday, video 27, that was all about using positive triggers. We looked at negative triggers during videos 1 through 5 that trigger you to think negative things automatically. Now we're using triggers to prompt your brain to think in a positive way, whether it's a sign that you put up, whether it's a tattoo that you have like I do, or it's a My Intent bracelet. My word for the year is deliberate, and how environmental triggers can immediately remind you of a much larger mindset, perspective, state of mind that you want to bring, whether that's peace, whether it is I got this, whether it's do it anyway, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, a lot of you are using, whether you use a word like love or faith, something that really reminds you of the more deliberate, higher state of thinking. All right, so that's the summary. Again, go to melrobbins.com/mindset reset. If you haven't already patted yourself on the back, you better put heart in those comments. And that heart is not for me, it's for you. And I want you to do that because I want you to acknowledge yourself for the fact that you're taking time to make the small changes that will make your life better. Yay, you. All right. So we've gotten a lot of questions on the science of naps, because as you know, when you look at videos 6 through 12, one of the things that I talk about a lot is the fact that how you wake up in the morning impacts your productivity, your focus, your mood, your happiness, your sense of control. And this isn't just something that I made up. This is based on science. And you also know, because you've been training with me, that hitting the snooze button is the worst thing that you can do. Because what happens when you hit the snooze button, and again, go to videos 6 through 12 to get a deeper dive in all of this. What happens when you hit the snooze button is you are coming out of deep sleep. You are in a state of waking up. When the alarm goes off, as you are coming out of sleep and waking up, you need to get up. Because if you hit the snooze button and you drift back to sleep at that moment, you are going to release a chemical in your body that has your brain start to go back into a sleep cycle. And once that happens, when the alarm goes off 10 minutes later and you wake up, your brain is now locked in a sleep cycle, which lasts anywhere from 2 to 4 hours. It's a medical state called sleep inertia. And it explains why if you're a chronic snooze button hitter, you wake up and you hit the snooze button, fall back asleep, hit the snooze button, fall back asleep, hit the snooze button, fall back asleep. And then all morning long, you're like, oh, I'm so tired. I didn't get enough sleep. I didn't get enough sleep. I didn't get enough sleep. Ugh. Actually, you probably got plenty of sleep. It was hitting the snooze button that's the problem. Because when your alarm went off, you were supposed to get up. Your body was ready to get up. And then when you drift back to sleep, your brain goes back into a sleep cycle. And when you then wake up 10 minutes later, you're in a state called sleep inertia. And you know, what's also interesting is, you know how I know a lot of you, I used to be a chronic snoozer. I'd set the alarm super early and then I'd give myself 4 or 5 snoozes, which was another 45 minutes to sleep. Guess what? Those 45 minutes that you're sleeping, snoozing, sleeping, snoozing, sleeping, snoozing, doesn't even count toward the amount of time you're sleeping, because you're not actually sleeping. You're screwing with your brain. So never, 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 never hit the snooze button, because it impacts your brain so negatively in terms of focus, productivity, clarity, speed of processing. A lot of you asked, though, what about naps? What about a nap? Because I thought that the research showed that taking a short nap, that actually will help me. That it is a way, because our bodies produce melatonin between 1 and 3 p.m. It's sort of something that's a holdover from evolution. So it's natural after you eat lunch to feel tired. And a lot of you, I know, love to take a nap. Here's what I discovered digging into the science of naps. Naps are fine. Naps are actually a very positive thing when they are what we call a power nap. A power nap is between 10 and 20 minutes in length. That's it. Because if you go longer than 20 minutes, you have the danger of drifting into the deeper sleep and starting an actual sleep cycle, which requires, as you know, 75 minutes to finish. So when it comes to napping, why does the 10 to 20 minute nap, why does that act as a refresher in the middle of the day, but 10 to 20 minutes of snoozing screws you over in the morning? It has to do with the fact that when you're taking a nap, you're starting to fall asleep. So those 10 to 20 minutes are a moment where your brain drifts off. It's not fully dead asleep yet. You can still kind of hear things and set an alarm. And if you get up within 20 minutes, you probably will have not drifted into a sleep cycle. Let's contrast that with the morning. You're not falling into sleep for the first time. You're in a mode of waking up. And so if you're in a mode of waking up and you allow yourself to then drift back to sleep, your brain's already in a sleepy state, which is why it so quickly drops into a sleep cycle. That's why there's a difference between the 10 to 20 minutes that you're snoozing after sleeping all night long versus the 10 to 20 minutes, which can be very refreshing and powerful for some of you. I'm not a napper. I don't like napping. It's not something that I do. I'll occasionally drift to sleep on a plane if I need a light nap, but that's about it. I don't do it intentionally, but the reason why it still works for some of you is because you're falling asleep. You're not going back to sleep. Does that make sense? Danielle, was that pretty succinct?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Yes.
We got a couple follow-up questions from that about the difference of like waking up if your partner's hitting snooze. And what to do if like you're not hitting snooze, but your partner wakes up and hits snooze and you sleep together. So how can you kind of manage that issue?
Oh, so your partner is doing the last hour of sleep. Mm-hmm. You got one or two choices. Either make a request that they stop doing that because it's interrupting your sleep, or get up when their first alarm goes. I mean, those are your choices. And you have the right to make that request. And if they don't honor it, I would invite them to watch the science around what the snooze button is doing. And so the other thing is maybe they start their snoozing a little bit later than when they're doing it now. So if they're doing 5 snooze alarms, maybe they do 2 and they start it a little bit later. But you just have to make the request. That's all you can do, because your partner can't read your mind. You have a commitment to wake up and feel better about your life. And it's really important in your relationships in particular that you ask for what you need. Now, your partner may not give it to you, and that's a whole different issue. And if your partner doesn't give it to you, then I want you to take a look at, how are you asking for it? Are you asking for it as a command? Or are you explaining the transformation that you're going through, the things that you're learning, and the support that you're needing? So there's a very big difference between pointing your finger and telling your person not to do something versus sitting down with the person that you love and saying, hey, I really need your help with something. And I know this isn't going to be easy, but, would you be willing to support me in this? And these are the things that I need you to do. That's a very different ask. I remember when Chris and I were first married, I didn't realize that I had ADD at that time. I hadn't been diagnosed yet. And I had this habit, this is really disgusting, but I had this habit of blowing my nose in a Kleenex. And then I would crumple it up and start walking towards the garbage can. And then I would set it down on the counter and walk away. Like, I completely forgot. And so he would come home and during cold season find my snotty Kleenexes around the house crumpled up halfway to the garbage can. And he started yelling at me. I don't blame him. It's disgusting. And you got to throw those things away. Why do you leave them out for me? And the thing is that I didn't understand at the time that I had ADD. Not that that's an excuse. It's an explanation, right? It's not an excuse for it. Doesn't justify it. It explains why I'm doing it. So I felt like totally made wrong and humiliated and sort of angry that he talked to me that way and barked orders at me, and which, by the way, didn't make me want to change. But when he finally sat down and said, hey, I have a problem that I need your support with. And I said, sure, what is it? And he explained to me how it made him feel that I was doing this. That is a totally different way to go about something. When I see a snotty Kleenex on the kitchen counter, it makes me feel that you think that I am your maid, that you think that it's my job to pick up after you. And that makes me feel terrible. And it makes me feel angry. And when he explained to me the impact of what I was doing at an emotional level, it was immediate for me, like a switch went off. I wanted to change the behavior because I didn't want something silly like leaving Kleenexes on the counter to impact him in that way. So, make the request very clearly and make sure you explain the why. Make sure you explain how their behavior is impacting you and what you're trying to change. Okay? All right, cool. So here's another question. I've realized through this process that I have people in my life that are extremely toxic. That's very normal, by the way. When you start to become aware of the triggers in your life and you become aware of the limiting beliefs that you have lived with for a very long time, this is all what we covered in videos 1 through 5. It is super common to realize that a lot of the triggers that are triggering you to feel bad about yourself are the people that are around you. And so what do you do when you awaken and start to think differently about yourself, but you are surrounded by people that seem to stir inside you? Well, am I good enough? Well, can I do anything right? Well, do I disappoint people? There's a couple things. Number one, it's all about boundaries. So both boundaries with other people and boundaries inside your head. So let me explain. So there are a lot of people in your life that you may not be able to draw boundaries with because they're family or because they're roommates and you're stuck with them, or they're colleagues and you actually love your job. You just can't stand sitting next to this person. And so I talk a lot about force fields and how you need to, when you're about to see the person, imagine a force field coming up. So if their negativity comes at you, it just bounces off. Let it be their negativity from their life, not negativity that penetrates your life. The second thing is super important for you to be very, very, very diligent and deliberate about recognizing when your thinking patterns start to change, because you're the one that's allowing your thinking pattern to change. So always come up with an anchor thought or a mantra or some sort of trigger, like I've got deliberate here on my arm, or it shall be right here, some sort of trigger that's positive, that reminds you of your power, that reminds you of what you do when you're around people that trigger this stuff in you. That's all you can do. I mean, short of cutting people out of your life, asking to sit different places in the office, avoiding people, not responding to texts, not making plans with people that make you feel like garbage. There's not much else you can do except for manage your own stuff. And it doesn't matter how positive of a person you are. We all got stuff. I mean, the thing that is my limiting belief is that I'm a terrible person. I don't know where it came from, but I notice there are still certain people in my life that it's something that's present for me, that I feel very self-conscious when I'm talking to these folks, because I feel like they believe that, or they judge me, or that they're going to find out something. What are they going to find out? I have no idea. I'm telling you, this stuff isn't rational. It's just been programmed up here. And then, the other thing that helps a lot with negative people is, instead of thinking about not spending time with them, how about you put your attention on spending more time with positive people? Because what happens when you put your attention on making plans with people that are positive, spending more time with people at work that are positive, is your time starts to become filled up by people who are positive, which means you have less time to be hanging out with people that are negative. And when you are hanging out with those people that are negative, because you have just spent a lot more time with people that are positive, your armor is up. Your mindset is shored up and feeling positive, and you will carry that into your interactions with folks that trigger you. All right, what would you suggest for people who know what we need to do and have days where we feel like, hell yeah, I can do this, and then the very next day you wake up and feel like you're not worthy? You mean, what's it like to be human? I have those exact same days. I have, the hell yes days, and I have the oh my God no days. And you have to have a level of empathy for yourself. You got to realize you're human. One of my favorite little mantras that I've been saying to myself lately is, when you know better, you do better. And I also tell myself I'm a work in progress. I also tell myself that every time I have a breakdown, or I do something as a parent, like, yell at one of my kids in a really nasty and inappropriate way. Yes, I do that occasionally when I get really frustrated and upset about things. I take it as a learning moment. I mean, because there's always a message in the mess. And one of the things that I'm excited about is, I've been practicing Mindset Reset for a number of years now, and doing it with you this month has had a profound impact on me in the way that these tools are even going even deeper. And the amount of times that I'm frustrated with my kids are getting less and less. And I've only had one really serious blow up with my 18-year-old daughter, who's identical to me, which is why we're like, and I was so disgusted with myself that I said, never again. I'm just like, the message in the mess is just don't even allow the tension to get to the level that it got to. Just let it go, Mel. Let it go. Stop controlling. Because for me, my daughter and I both love to control everything. And so it's the tension around how we're controlling it that always explodes things. What's another thing that you can do if you're worried about making the program stick? Well, you can watch video 29 tomorrow, because that's what we're going to be talking about. But what I'm really going to be talking about is videos 6 through 12. I think the most important thing that you can do to make this program stick is you can get incredibly serious and dedicated about your morning routine. Because if you find yourself having a couple bad days in a row, and you start to feel like you're losing control again, and you start to feel like you're getting overly triggered and anxious again, go back to the morning routine. And the fundamentals of that are so important, because both from a scientific and a common sense point of view, every single thing that I'm asking you to do to have a powerful morning routine is going to give you control of what you're thinking about. So how does it begin, the morning routine? Well, you can watch videos 6 through 12, but just to remind you, you plug your phone in at night outside your bedroom. So do not sleep with your phone ever. You want control of your mind. You want to feel like you're not slipping. Develop a healthy practice at night where you plug your phone in away from your bedroom. You sleep without it. That's number one. And the reason why has to do with how we sleep. It has to do with the fact that we're addicted to our phones. It has to do with the desperate need for all of us to have major healthy boundaries with technology and with the way that people can access us. And so it also has to do with the morning, because when you wake up after hopefully a great night's sleep, because you haven't woken up to look at your phone or your phone buzzing hasn't interrupted you, when you wake up, your phone's not there. So you're not going to be able to look at social media, which so many of you do, and which I used to do. So the phone's not there, the alarm goes off, and now you got to get up, because most of you use your phone as the alarm. I do too. What's wrong?
Your phone is too hot on Instagram.
Too hot? What does that mean?
It literally just says iPhone needs to cool down before you can use it again.
Oh, I wonder if it's that charger.
Yeah, it might be. Maybe I'll try unplugging it.
I would unplug it.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
That's never happened before.
No. Okay, we'll keep going on Facebook. That's really weird.
Yeah, the phone won't even work.
Wow. Oops. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Are we still live on Facebook?
Yep, we're still live everywhere else.
Sorry, Instagram. Then get up and that way you're not going to hit the snooze alarm. And then is it like super hot?
Yeah.
Let me see. I bet it's that charger. I would take this out of here.
All right.
Is there a fridge? Stick it in the fridge.
Okay.
It's alive now?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. We're going to go back on Instagram. So thank you, if you're watching on Facebook and YouTube, for your patience so we can bring in... What's your passcode? Oh, my passcode. Hold on a second. Okay, hold on. We're right here. There we go. Okay. See, you just keep on going. I don't even get flustered anymore when we have tech breakdowns, because you just learn to deal with stuff. So are we on Instagram now?
It's loading. Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Instagram, for your patience. I guess my phone overheated because of the charger I was using. Isn't that bizarre? Really strange. That's exactly what it was, I bet.
Yeah.
Anyway, so when we were talking about morning routine and how if you want to make this program stick like glue and you're a human being and you have a couple bad days in a row, always go back to the morning routine. It's summarized in videos 6 through 12. And, you don't sleep with the phone next to you. The alarm rings, get out of bed, turn off the alarm. Do not look at the phone. Do not turn on the TV. Do not turn on the radio. Do not open up your computer. Do not let the world in. Brush your teeth, go into the kitchen or wherever, sit down and take those first 10 to 30 minutes for you. And there's a particular journaling method in a particular order that I use. And the reason why I use it is it's backed by science. You assess your mood in the morning, because your mood in the morning impacts your productivity all day. You come up with one thing to do to boost your mood at some point during the day. You then focus on one thing that matters to you today, just one thing that matters to you. And then the next thing that you do is you plan your quitting time. You write down something you're grateful for, and that's it. That's it. And after you've done that, after you've practiced the progress principle, you've dedicated time to boost your mood, to focus yourself on something that matters to you, then you can turn on the TV, you can mainline social media and make yourself feel terrible by looking at all these accounts. By the way, that's another thing that I think is really important. We did something in this program called Unfollow Friday, and every Friday is a opportunity for you to look at your social media feeds and realize that you're giving people access to your brain. And so instead of having a social media feed that makes you feel like crap about the world we live in, or makes you angry about politics, or is filled with people that make you feel like you're losing some sort of imaginary race when it comes to the amount of money you make, or the car that you drive, or the body that you have, stop it. Unfollow these people and follow accounts that make you feel good. You talk about, we get so many questions about how to deal with toxic people. I bet 40% of your social media feed is full of people you wouldn't hang out with in real life, and full of content that makes you think toxic things about you. So don't do that to yourself. Unfollow Friday. That's another really important thing. But again, if you feel like you're slipping, I think the most important thing to come back to foundationally is the morning routine. Okay. What other questions we got?
We have this one.
Okay.
How do I overcome feeling guilty for speaking up for myself against my parents? I know I'm in the right, but I can't help but feel guilty having no or little contact, but at the same time, I have way more peace.
Ooh. It's interesting. I'm going to say something that some of you may feel is like completely whacked, but this is a very hard concept. I'm not sure I've ever said this out loud. Just because your mother and father created you doesn't mean that you are obligated to subject yourself to toxic or unhealthy behavior on their part just because they did. So think about it this way. There's almost like two lives that happen. There's the life that got created when your parents created you in the womb, and that was a 10-month period. And then there's everything else that comes after. And this is the life where you're a full participant in. And just because of the first 10 months doesn't mean that you should be excusing, tolerating, putting up with, or sweeping under the rug toxic behavior, dangerous behavior, abusive behavior. And one of the things that has helped me a lot in my relationship with my mom, which has gotten so good over the past couple of years, is I also stopped making her wrong about a lot of stuff. And I started to have a lot of empathy for everything that she's gone through in her life. And so, one of the things that I want you to understand is I think that you owe your parents gratitude and respect for the fact that they created you. But once you get to the part where you're the adult too and you're building your own life, you should not be putting up with behavior that's toxic and behavior that's dangerous, or behavior that is destructive, or behavior that is illegal, or behavior that is racist or sexist, or whatever it may be. And, again, your parents will do better when they know better. And they're not going to know better until you tell them. And so the other thing is I think it's really important to not just ice people out, but first have the conversations around what's bugging you to give your parents a chance to adjust. But after that, I'm sure you do feel guilty. And you feel guilty because they gave you life. But that does not mean that you're supposed to put up with behavior that makes your current life miserable. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm making a lot of sense there.
Yeah, that was really powerful.
I don't know. I feel like I'm going through this right now as a mother because, from 0 to 18, I'm responsible for my kids' development. But my job as a parent is to not create mini me's. The idea is for them to go off and create their own life. And so my job is to teach them how to think and teach them how to treat people and to teach them to put in the work and to teach them how to face uncertainty and to teach them how to fail and pick themselves back up and go forward again, and to teach them how to listen to what's true for them and follow it. And 9 times out of 10, all of those lessons require me to give up control and get the hell out of the way. It requires me to allow my kids to pursue things that I'm not interested in because they are interested in it. And there has been a massive experience of learning how to let go especially with my 18-year-old daughter, or our 18-year-old daughter. And letting go more and letting our kids succeed or fail based on the things that they've learned in years 1 through 17 for us, it's been both the hardest and the most powerful lesson for me. It certainly made me a better parent, and it's also made me a better daughter, because I can appreciate what my parents must be going through, and how, look, it's I think human nature to want your kids to be exactly like you. It's human nature to want your kids to want to make the same decisions you make. It's human nature to want you to think that you want your kids to think about the world the exact same way that you do. You want to know why you believe that? Because it's easier for you. Because when your kids agree with everything that you're doing, you don't have to face any uncertainty yourself. It's why we try to control everything our kids are doing. The second that you let go and you honor your kids as adults, and you honor them in terms of the decisions that they're making, even though if you're sitting back going, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. The problem is, as a parent, is you're allowing uncertainty into your own life. And I think that's why a lot of us swoop in, especially when our kids become adults, and we try to push them into professions and push them to move certain places and push them to think about the world certain ways. Stop doing that. Just stop. You need to teach your kids how to think for themselves, because they're the ones that are going to have to live with the consequences of their decisions. So you might as well teach them how to do it while they're still under your roof. I don't even know what the question. What was the question?
How to not feel guilty when setting boundaries with your parents.
Guilt is I can't remember the really snappy thing that I say about guilt. But guilt is like this. It's like bashing yourself. What purpose is guilt serving you? It's a learned behavior. You're drawing boundaries anyway, so why on earth would you make yourself feel guilty about something that you need to do? You can feel empathy that your parents don't understand why. You can feel commitment to want to help them change. You can feel pride for drawing those boundaries. But please don't feel guilty. If the guilt that you're inflicting on yourself isn't helping you change for the better, stop doing it. Because I think a lot of times feeling guilty is a habit that you learned. Maybe actually, if you're having to draw, so I'm going to now make a couple assumptions. If you're drawing boundaries from your parents, it's probably because there's a very unhealthy relationship there. And I would imagine that one of the psychological tools that your parents used on you growing up is to make you feel guilty. And I bet you also witnessed your mother or your father feeling guilty about things in relation to their families. This is all learned behaviors. And so this is a pattern that's broken, that doesn't serve you, and you need to replace it. So when you start to, do you remember the Think This, Not That, and Anchor Thought training? What are those videos, Danielle? Because this is just a pattern. That's it.
Yeah. Think This, Not That is 4.
So watch video 4 and watch video 5, the Q&A, because I bet we cover it there.
And then Anchor Thoughts is 15.
And Anchor Thoughts is video 15. And what I want you to do is I want you to come up, I think This and That is probably the most powerful training. It's video 4. I want you to come up with something else that you're going to say to yourself instead of feeling guilty. So when you start to think this, I feel so guilty, why am I doing this? Think that. I can't come up with something right now. Can you come up with something about not being guilty? There's nothing wrong with setting boundaries.
Mm-hmm. I'm protecting myself.
Yeah, I'm protecting myself. Or here's the other thing. If I don't need to feel guilty because I've told them exactly what they need to do in order to not make me wrong. They're refusing. Instead of I feel guilty, how about, I need to remind myself they're the ones who are refusing to treat me in a way that is powerful. That's it. Like, come up with something that works for you, but rewatch the training on video 4. Okay, what else?
All right, next one.
Mm-hmm.
Ashlyn Liu. I often find myself procrastinating on working on my side hustle of making online content by keeping busy with cleaning. It gives me the illusion that I'm being productive.
Yes.
How do I stay on track? It reminds me of you with the furniture.
Yes, I used to rearrange the furniture in my living room every week because it allowed me to distract myself from doing the real work that I needed to do, which was to create a side hustle so we could pay our bills. It became like a joke. So the thing about procrastination is it's triggered by stress. So your cleaning is being triggered by stress. And there's only one way to deal with this pattern. You have to interrupt it. So when you catch yourself cleaning next time, that's a moment of power because you're now present. You're like, oh my God, here I am cleaning again. Use the 5-second rule, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to switch gears in your brain and get control in the moment. And then I want you to just do one thing on your side hustle. That's it. Drop the cleaning stuff, walk over, send one email on your side hustle, write one paragraph of content, do one thing. And here's why. Here's why I want you to focus on doing one thing or working for 5 minutes. That's it. Set a timer for 5 minutes. I'm going to work on content for 5 minutes. We know based on the research that you're 80% of the time you're going to keep going past the 5 minutes, because the issue isn't that you don't know how to create content. The issue is that when you start to feel stressed out, you go to cleaning. It's a pattern that you've trained yourself to do. The only way to interrupt that pattern is to break it and insert a new one, okay? And let me just say something about procrastination and perfectionism, okay? Because how many of you struggle with being a perfectionist? Yep, I'm sure. The thing about those of you who are perfectionists is that it's not about being perfect. Perfectionism is really your attempt to be in control. And we're seeing a massive rise in the number of people that struggle with perfectionism. And I think it has to do with the fact that our culture is now so focused on performing from an early childhood, from how you do in school to being on the right club team, and then it's the travel team, and then it's the this team, and then it's recruiting for college, and the way that we parent our kids, and helicoptering and swooping down, and the pressure of college, and the pressure to achieve, and the concern that you're going to make a mistake. I mean, this has become a self-imposed epidemic. And so if you are somebody who struggles with perfectionism, you can't turn in something at work until it's perfect. You can't finish the paper until it's perfect. You can't even start with redecorating your room until you know the perfect color. That this is really about control. You are uncomfortable just being in the flow. You're uncomfortable with the unknown. And the most important thing here is to realize that this is a pattern, and you absolutely have to break free of the need to do everything right and to get into the mode of just being willing to try. Get into the mode of understanding, hey, if I turn in something at work that's not like perfect, I'll get feedback and then I'll make it right. Like in the work and in the willingness to just keep pushing things down the line, keep showing up, keep raising your hand even though you're not sure you're going to say it right, keep contributing, keep asking for feedback. You 1,000% will slowly lose the grip of being a perfectionist, because the only way to break that pattern is to realize, oh my God, I'm trying to keep control, and that's why I'm holding on to this paper, that's why I'm torturing myself, that's why I'm doing everything. The magic is in the willingness to push things forward, to try, to get in the flow, to basically say, I'm just going to do my best. That's it. I'm not going to do it right. I'm going to just try. I'm going to do my best. And when I get feedback on how I can do it better, that's how I'm going to learn. I am a lifelong learner. I don't ever think I'm going to do anything perfect. This is not something I struggle with anymore, because I have broken this pattern in my mind and realized that all of the opportunity and magic comes from you being willing to put yourself out there when you're not perfect, being willing to do things and start things when you haven't figured it out, and understanding that when you get into the flow and into the conversation and into the live stream, that you can get into problem solving mode and you can figure it out. We got a question from Wanda. When Mindset Reset is over, can I still access through my emails, or what's the best place to go? So Wanda and everybody, if you've signed up for Mindset Reset, you're not going to get daily emails, but on every Thursday I send out a letter about what's going on in my life and kind of 5 things that I've learned that week. It might be funny things. It might be a cool viral video. It might be a really interesting piece of research. It might be a link to the videos that we do. Every single video from Mindset Reset is on YouTube forever. They're in a playlist called Mindset Reset. If you would like, if you're watching this email or this video and it's 10 years from now, from this moment where I'm doing this live stream live outside of Disney World, which is where we are today, you can still go to melrobbins.com/mindset reset, and we'll send you an email with a link to the playlist so that you can get it in a very simple way. But the videos will be there for you forever. Don't you worry about it. And if you also sign up to melrobbins.com/mindset reset, we'll also send you the links to all of the companion guides that we created that went along with some of the live trainings. So you don't want to miss out on that. But yeah, it'll always be there. And Wanda, so here's the thing. We send out a we send out a newsletter every Thursday. And as soon as this program is over, we will resume a live short daily broadcast that I call Coffee Talk, because we typically do it in the morning. And it's almost always on the road. It's sort of random. It's not as structured as these in terms of a training. It's more of an entertaining behind the scenes. But those are going to pick up. And I'm really excited because on Thursday, my new project with Audible is launching called Take Control. It's Take Control of Your Life. It's 6 coaching sessions. And the whole thing is about fear and how we have childhood things that happen to us, and those memories get stored in our nervous system and they create patterns of behavior. And so how do you spot these patterns in yourself? It's a super cool project, and I'm really excited for anybody that is an Audible subscriber or anybody that is interested in this subject matter to be able to listen to it. It's 10 hours of content. Take Control of Your Life on Audible. And again, don't buy it, because I don't want you, I'm not selling anything to you on this program, okay? Anything else?
I think this is a good one for last question.
Okay.
My question is, what advice do you have regarding having patience with yourself while you feel like you're inching forward?
How do you have patience with yourself as you're inching forward? You know what I think can be really helpful? Is I think it could be very helpful to take on a practice. Like maybe what you should add in is at night, keep a journal by your bed, because your phone's not going to be there, right? And write down one thing that you did today that you're proud of. I think that single practice of looking back on your day and writing, and it could simply be that you didn't have a cup of coffee. It could simply be that you had 1 Diet Coke, not 7. It could simply be that you spoke in a meeting. It could be that you made it to the gym. It could be that you exercised today. Whatever it is, I want you to consider doing that as a practice, because I think when you're struggling with patience as you're trying to change, there's 2 things that I can tell about you. One is that you're probably pretty hard on yourself. And number 2, that you're scared that this isn't going to stick. And so I think it's important to create momentum for yourself by reminding yourself of the positive changes that you are making every day. Can you read the one from the screenshot too?
Oh,
that we got? And we're going to wrap up with this question, which I think is really, really a good one.
Do you want to read it, or do you want me to read it?
Here, let me read it. This is one that I got in my Instagram messages, and I'm going to put it on my, what's it called? My story. This is the face of anxiety. I thought the last week went okay with the kids home all week, but my ability to handle anything this week proves otherwise. Anyone else's nerves shot. The littlest noise, the kid's not listening, just sends me over the edge. Thanks to Mel Robbins' live Mindset Reset, I have gotten a few tools to deal with it. So at least I haven't been yelling at the kids. That's a big victory. But my insides are all over the place. That's what change feels like. Truly. See, we're not only rewiring the default mode and where our thoughts default to, but remember the mind-body connection. That your thoughts, and you learned this when we went over all the content around anxiety. So the anxiety videos were videos 13 through 22. There's a major connection between worry and the agitation you feel in your body. And so, believe it or not, having you may be rewiring what you're worrying about, but still experience what she's talking about, which is that agitation of being discombobulated. And what's happening, in my opinion, if that's what you're feeling, is you are so used to living in a state of agitation that even though you're controlling your thoughts, even though you're controlling whether or not you bark at the kids, which is a huge breakthrough, by the way, your body's so used to being upset that it doesn't calm down. It's just going to take time. The thing that's going to work for you, I would give you the same advice. Keep a journal by your bed and write down one thing that you're proud of yourself for, because I think your issue is self-care. I think you're so rattled because your whole life is about taking care of other people. And what I would like to see you do is to add in a mind-body practice. This is going to sound super stupid, but trust me when I tell you this works. Your central nervous system sounds like it is super agitated. And so when you look at your morning routine, if your insides are all like all day, I want you to look at the morning routine that we trained you to develop in videos 6 through 12. And I want you to customize it. I want you to add something that is in the realm of self-care or mindfulness. And here are 4 suggestions. You ready? Either add in meditation. You can use a free app called Calm or a bazillion other apps that are out there to learn how to meditate. Add in exercise of some sort. Exercise is literally the one thing that impacts everything. Add in exercise of some sort, and if you can afford it, group exercise is the bomb. Whether you're going to Orange Theory or Planet Fitness or something where you're with other people. Another thing, this is going to sound crazy, but one way to calm yourself down is a bath. This is a fact that people that have taken my courses know about me, but I literally take a bath every night unless I'm in a hotel. I love taking a bath because it stimulates the vagus nerve and it causes your body. You have the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. Taking a bath stimulates, I believe it's the sympathetic nervous system, and makes you calm down. Another thing that does that exact same thing is walking outside in the woods. There's something about going for a 10-minute silent walk outside in nature, if you can do it, that will stimulate the nervous system that calms you down. And so 3 things. If you're starting to get the hang of the mindset reset upstairs, but you notice your body's still very discombobulated, try journaling at night. One thing that you're proud of that you did today, tiny thing. When you look at your morning routine, add in some kind of mindfulness. And number 3, don't make yourself wrong. This is the process of change. It doesn't feel comfortable. Yes, you're going to have a lot of easy wins. Like Arlene, here's a huge shout out to Arlene. I've been exercising for the last few days. I absolutely hate it, but 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and bam, I'm doing it. I feel great even through every muscle in my body. Hurts like hell. I'm already feeling better than I have in a very long time. That's amazing. And there are going to be mornings where you wake up and you don't feel like doing it. And there are going to be mornings that you wake up and you don't go, and then you beat yourself up. This is a process, not an event. Always come back to the morning routine. Always understand that you can do it anyway. And, I tell you this every single day. Tomorrow, we're going to have our last live training session for Mindset Reset. And I'm going to tell you some things that you can do so that this process takes hold for the rest of the year, even when you don't feel like it. So that's the final training tomorrow. Ask away with questions. We'll fold in a few more questions tomorrow as well. But in case nobody else tells you today, I want to tell you that I love you and I believe in your ability to change your life for the better. I really do. And I believe that because you can control and change how you think. And when you do that, it'll change your life. You can choose to do things when you don't feel like it, and that'll change your life. You can draw boundaries with people that don't, and social media that no longer serves you. That'll change your life. You can take control of the first 10 minutes of your day. That'll change your life. You can sleep without your phone next to you every night. That'll change your life. It's the little things that mean everything. And that's why my team and I were here every single day to remind you of that. And even when Mindset Reset is over, we will be here every morning doing a live broadcast of some sort to connect with you. And so we're not going anywhere, and neither are you. And I think that's it. Anything else? All right, we're done. Thank you. Have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow.